Welcome back. Recently, John and I published an article called Dealing with Illness and Managing a Successful Return to Training. And what I want to do is dig a little deeper into that and point out the key things that John and I wanted to get across to you to help you keep minor illnesses minor and to avoid substantial disruptions to training. So, bear that in mind. When you think you might have something going on, it's better to back off preemptively. And I recommend you follow a recovery on demand approach to your loading, which means when something pops up like this, you're going to back off right away and keep it minor. So, recap. I do a morning and evening heart rate sample. And my morning sample is pulled into HRV for Training, the app, and it lets me see my heart rate and my heart rate variability. And then in the evening, I do a heart rate sample as well, and that lets me see if my evening heart rate is elevated. So we think something's up. We're not sure what it is. We still feel pretty good, and we've had a good bit of momentum with our training. But we start to see our resting heart rate increase, either in the evening or in the morning. This is a great use case for heart rate variability, because we can see a little tick up there. But if we look at this chart, which is heart rate variability, the bottom falls out of it. And the bottom falls out of it, for me, if it's a minor illness, up to about 48 hours in advance, which is really helpful because I can back off preemptively. Now, this is for a minor illness. When I had COVID, there was no guesswork. I just went straight off a cliff. But a lot of us, most of the illnesses we're going to be getting are minor. It's an upper respiratory thing, and we just want to keep it minor, and we're going to have a few easy days, somewhere between 3 to 6, and we're going to get back on track. But if we try and grind through, we can turn a minor into a major, and I want to help you avoid that. So if you're doing the heart rate variability, it's going to be crystal clear. Something's going to be up. You don't know what it is. Just back off. Now, you can also, if you have a Garmin watch, it will capture your overnight heart rate. And this dotted line here is the overnight average, and you have to click overnight average to see this. So your HRV status that the watch will tell you has a lag in it. It's these dots. And by the time it actually notices that your HRV status is unbalanced, you'll be sick. It doesn't catch it early enough. So these morning measurements where you capture it are going to be your first, probably your best way to get that early warning signal. Or you have to remember to click overnight average and you'll see it drop. Now, my watch, when I wake up in the morning, tells me what my overnight average was. And so it's just a couple screens that I click through each morning. It's kind of like my wake up message. It gives you a little, quote of the day to kind of motivate you. So I wanted to show you that option as well. And I find that the overnight and my morning sample with the Polar H10 strap, they track pretty well. There are some times when they diverge. I'm going to show you that. Other people, particularly people that might be having funny beats and arrhythmias happening overnight, find that overnight data is too messy. And if you use Marco's app, HRV for Training, and you pull the data in, his app actually helps clean up the data and remove the artifacts so you get a much cleaner look. Now, this is after the acute phase, and you can see I'm trending upwards. Now, I wear an Oura ring, and the best feature of that ring is it takes my temperature without me having to worry about it. And if my temperature is up or down unusually, it will give me a little notification when I download the data in the morning, which is really helpful for a situation where you have a low-grade fever and you just feel a little funny. And if you're like me, you might be a little reluctant to admit you're sick, and then the ring tells you and there's no way to avoid it. It's like, okay, I got some sort of minor fever. It's another sign that something might be up. Now, John's a sports doc. He's been practicing for over 30 years, seen a lot of athletes, dealt with a lot of sick athletes. Key point from John: if you've had any sort of fever, even a minor one, there's been a disruption at a cellular level, and you need to be careful for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so I was careful through here, and you can see I'm trending up towards a half marathon race, but I wasn't doing any really severe workouts because I didn't want to tip myself over the edge. I wanted to give myself as much time as possible to have a successful race. Okay, now we can have a look at the whole period. So this is, and we can see this is the acute period where I got sick. And although I'm trending up with that morning measurement that I showed you previously, my overnight is showing this disruption that John talks about. And it's not until I'm about 2.5 weeks past that illness that I actually start trending upwards and my body is cleared through. So this 2 to 3 weeks that John talks about, if you look for it, you're going to be able to see it. You might need to be looking at your overnight data as well as your morning data. My morning data was telling me, hey, it's okay to train. You're in good shape, but don't go bananas with it because something was still up. And I could see that in my overnight data. No fever here. Training was going well. I was just being really cautious like John advised. HRV peaks, couple great days trending up, 2 nights sleep at sea level, and then I do the race and boom, I'm kind of going very tired after the race for a week or so, but now I'm trending back up, and then imagine over February I'll sort of re-normalize. Now here is December, and around the end of November, I had a very minor upper respiratory issue and no fever that time. And you'll see, just as John tells us, it kind of goes down and then it trends up and I'm right back to normal again. And so this is where I think if you're looking at both the overnight as well as your morning reading, you might get a better quality guide for how to play it, because when everything's flashing green on you and you're trending towards the top of your normal range, you'll know it's safe. And all across December, I was challenging myself by boosting my total load to get ready for that half marathon. So I hope this helps you. If you want to dig a little deeper, I'm going to put the link to the Endurance Corner article into the comments on my YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.